Sorry. So a review of what we have discussed before, we can do matrix addition, matrix subtraction. The rule is that the matrices should have the same size. So a 3 by 5 matrix can be added to a 3 by 5 matrix, but not to a 4 by 4 matrix. You can also subtract matrices of the same size. For multiplication, we have a rule. Okay, ang rule natin, the column of the first matrix should be the same as the row of the second matrix. Otherwise, guys, if they're not equal, then the two matrices are not multiplicable. The resulting matrix will be the outer dimensions. So in this case, F is 2 by 3, E is 3 by 2. They're multiplicable, and the resultant matrix is 2 by 2. Okay, and then that's F times E. E times F, guys, you have to check first the column of E and then the row of F. If they're the same, then we can multiply. The resultant matrix will have a size 3 by 3. So this shows us that F times E is not the same as E times F. There's no commutativity principle as far as matrix multiplication is concerned. So we did this last time, diba? In the video that I requested you to view, ando dun yung specific rules ng matrix multiplication. We're not going into that, but it's good for you to know how this is carried out. In this lecture of ours, we will just go to the final output, but it follows the same rule. So let's run this just by way of quick review. Matrix E, matrix F. Okay, it's still running there. So this is matrix E. It's a 3 by 2 matrix. Matrix F is a 2 by 3 matrix. You first identify the rows, then the columns. Okay, then we can multiply F times E and also E times F, but they're different matrices and they have different sizes. So let's multiply both of this. Okay, so this is matrix G, which is F times E, and this is matrix H, which is E times F. So this proves to us that there is no such thing as commutativity in matrix multiplication. Okay, then we have the transpose of a matrix. Okay, where's matrix A? I didn't run matrix A, so I'll run matrix A. So this is matrix A. Okay, this is matrix A, and then the transpose of a matrix is such that the rows become the columns and the column become the rows. So a 3 by 2 matrix becomes a 2 by 3 matrix. Okay, so let's create an object called A transpose, and it's equal to T. T here is the function to get the transpose of a matrix. So let's run A here. A. Run these three codes at the same time. Okay, so this is matrix A. This is A transpose. So you see here, row 2, 1 became column 2, 1. Okay, so that's the transpose of a matrix, etc. 3, 2 became, row 3, 2 became column 3, 2. And the size now of A transpose is 2 by 3, whereas A is 3 by 2. Okay, so getting the transpose of the transpose will yield the original vector. So this is the original matrix, I mean. Okay, so let's take a look at some common vectors. Yes.
Just to be clear, T is the function to transpose.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for asking. That's correct. T is the function to transpose. So this one, guys, binigyan lang natin ng pangalan. Of course, you could have used another name for that. Okay, A trans. Okay. This is the function T. Okay, and it transposes the matrix A. Again, it presupposes that there's already a matrix existing in our environment. Okay, thank you for that question. Any other questions, guys? So clear so far yung transpose. And then let's take a look at some common vectors. So this is a vector, zero vector, ito pala, unit vector. Remember, yung matrix function, ang unang linalagay natin yung data, then rows, then columns. So you have this matrix U, okay, consisting of the element 1, and then there are 3 rows and 1 column. So it's a 3 by 1 matrix. If we run this, ayan, 3 rows by 1 column. And it's all 1. Okay, so this is a unit matrix, a unit vector actually, which is a matrix also. Okay, and then 0 vector, ganun din. 0 yung data natin, 3 rows, 1 column. Okay, 3 rows of 0. So some special forms of matrices. Okay, what's a diagonal matrix, guys? Take a look at this. We're creating a matrix called S. Ano yung laman niya? 2, 3, negative 2, 1, 2, 2, 4, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 elements, and it's 3 by 3, no? 3 by 3. So let's create matrix S. So this is your matrix S. 2, 3, negative 2. Take note, guys. The default is always writing the elements column-wise. Okay, by default, no? Unless, as I said, kung ginawa natin by row is equal to true, ang pagsulat niya, 2, 3, negative 2, 1, 2, 2. Bali yung transpose ito. So we're creating an object called W, and it's the diagonal of S. Ano ba yung diagonal ni S? Yung diagonal ni S, guys, ito, 2, 2, 3. That's the diagonal of S. And let's run that. Okay, so ito lang. 2, 2, 3. So those are the elements of yung W. Okay, yung diagonal lang ni S, yung 2, 2, 3. And then let's create another one, W1, which is diagonal of the diagonal of S. Ano kaya to? Let's run this. So what's happening here, guys? What do you think happened here sa W1? Anyone, guys?
Sir, yung natira lang sa table is the diagonal.
Kasi the diagonal function, guys, pag ginagawa natin yung matrix yan, yung diagonal, ang ibibigay lang niya yung pinaka-diagonal. Tingnan nyo, ha? Let me create an object called I4. No? Let's create an object called I4 and diagonal 4. So what happens here? Ano gine-generate niya? Try nyo nga, guys. What's the result? Okay, trinay nyo ba?
Pero wala pong lumalabas.
Walang lumalabas. Error, no? Error ba? Hindi, may lumabas. No? There should be one. Okay, take a look at this. The diagonal function, guys, as it is lang, no, plus the number, will give us what we call an identity matrix. So this is an identity matrix. Identity matrix, which is a matrix where the diagonals are all 1 and the rest are 0. The 4 there refers to the size of the matrix. So isa lang ilalagay natin kasi pag identity matrix, guys, it's always a square matrix. What's a square matrix? a square matrix is a matrix where the rows and columns are the same. So, kunyari, gawin yung I2, then it will be, pag I2 guys, I2, diagonal 2, and then let's immediately print I2. Yan, ba? It's a 2 by 2 matrix where the diagonals are all 1 and the rest are 0. So that's what we call a identity matrix. No?
Sir, paano kapag, let's say, I2 diagonal 4?
Okay lang yun kasi pangalan lang naman eh. No? This is just a name. Kahit ilagay ko dyan, Bob, no?
Pero
Kaya-
to make the table, it's depending on the one inside the parentheses po.
Yeah, correct.
Oh,
That's true. No? Kunyari, ilagay ko Bob. It's just a name anyway, diagonal, and then 10. And then print natin si Bob. Okay. So that will be a size 10. A square matrix. Okay, tingnan nyo. No? So the diagonals are all ones. Yeah,
yes.
1. Okay. Now, what's so special about a diagonal matrix? Sige, habang andito na tayo. So, let's plot. Let's insert tayo ng chunk. Although nandito yata yung sa baba. No? Sige. A. What's our matrix A? Run natin. Our matrix A is it's a 3 by 2 matrix, diba? A is 3 by 2. Now let's try to pre-multiply I, an identity matrix on A, and post-multiply it on A. So ibig sabihin pre-multiply I times A muna, okay? Or post-multiply A times I. Yan. So that's our activity now. That's our exercise now. Let's pre-multiply an identity matrix with A. Okay. So what will it be, guys? Paano tayo mag-pre-multiply ng identity matrix with A? What's the size of A?
3 by 2.
Okay, it's 3 by 2, di ba? Okay. A is 3 by 2. So if we're going to multiply I here, what should be the size of I?
2 by 3, sir.
Huh? 2 by 3.
2 by
2 by 3. Kaso remember guys that an identity matrix is a square matrix. So hindi pa pwedeng 2 by 3 kasi hindi square yung 2 by 3. What should be the size of the identity matrix? Should be square dapat siya. So ano dapat yun? Guys? I what? What's the size of matrix of the identity matrix? Diba yung rule natin sa
paano square?
pareho yung column at saka yung row. A square matrix is a matrix where the size of the row and the columns are the same.
So 9 by 4.
Oh, ang 9 by 4, hindi square yun. 9 rows and 4 columns, hindi square yun. Dapat pareho.
So 3 by 3.
Yun, 3 by 3 guys. 3 by 3. Yan. But multiplicable na ba yan kung ganyan? Are these two matrices multiplicable? Class?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Oh, kasi tingnan nyo, yung column ng first matrix natin is the same as the row of the first matrix. Right? Tama? So multiplicable to. Or you can just write this as I3. Okay? Sometimes it's just written as I3 kasi understood na yan na 3 by 3 yan. No? Okay, so how do we generate now I3? Paano, guys? Paano? Diag, no? So let's create an object called I3 and it's diag 3. So this is an identity matrix with a size of 3. Okay. So let's multiply this. So let's create an object called may A2 ba tayo? Sige, A2, which is just what? So may I3 na tayo, di ba? I3. And then what's the sign for matrix multiplication? Percent times percent, di ba? And then what? A. So that's matrix multiplication for I3 times A. Take note, I3 is just to be sure, guys. So let's print I3. Ayan, no, di ba? So it's an identity matrix 3 by 3. And we said that it can be multiplied to A. Kasi 3 by 3 to, si A 3 by 2. So pwede siya, no? And the resulting size will be, what will be the resulting size, guys? Ilolongkat ko to, ha? What will be the resulting size of the matrix?
3 by 2.
3 by 2 then, no? So A2 is I3 pre-multiplied to A. So let's run this para ma-generate na kagad natin si A2. Run. Okay, what do you notice about A2, guys? What is A2?
Sir, ayaw po nung sa akin. Sabi daw
Ano?
non-conformable arrays.
Sige, review natin, ha? Ano yung A mo?
Yung sa una po, yung
A mo is, meron ka ng A, di ba?
Yes, sir, yung 3 by 2.
Okay. Tapos, dinefine mo na si I3. Diag 3 ginawa mo.
Yes, sir.
So, dapat, pwede natin ma-multiply siya kasi si I 3 by 3 yan, si A 3 by 2. Sige, gawin mo to. Let's call it an A2. And then it's multiplying your I3, which we already identified. No? And then matrix multiplication, percent times percent, multiplied by A. Try mo nga.
Yun pa rin lumalabas, sir.
Yun pa rin. Sandali. Sige, can you flash your screen? Gawin kitang
Yes.
Sandali. Saan yung natin? Para makita natin yung Inigo to, no?
Yes po.
Sige. I'll make you co-host. Hindi, ganito na lang. Para baka sakali may question yung iba sa inyo, so that you can share your... Stop share muna ako. Tapos, all participants. Okay. Okay, sige. You can share your screen now, Inigo.
Okay, sir.
Tingnan natin, ha? So that we can work on that.
This one, sir.
Yan, sige.
Yung A ko po nandito. Yung kanina
A
pala,
is,
sir.
yan, yung 2, 3, negative 2. Sige. So, you have... rinan mo ba yung chunk?
No, sir.
Sige, sige. So, I3 natin is diagonal 3. So, meron ka ng I3, di ba?
Yes, sir.
So, that's 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. So, tama yan, no? And then, I3, percent times percent. Sige, let's run this one at a time. Ito muna. I-print muna natin I3 just to be sure. No? Okay, tama yung I3 natin. Okay, and then print A2 is I3 times. May times ba to dito? May times ba yung percent mo?
Ay, paano po ba dapat?
May times dapat. Percent tapos asterisk. Yan. Wala yatang wala ka yatang times kanina. Sige, run mo na yan. Yan.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Kulang ng percent times yung
Asterisk po.
asterisk pala. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Inigo. All right, so I'll continue sharing. Okay. So pareho lang siya. So what can we conclude out of this, guys? An identity matrix multiplied by a matrix is equal to the matrix. So when we pre-multiply an identity matrix to a matrix, it will always give the same. It will always yield the matrix itself. What about, guys, what about post-multiplying? Post-multiplying an identity to a matrix. Ibig sabihin ng post-multiplying, guys, after the matrix, no? So that will be sa ano natin, A, which is 3 by 2 multiplied by I. So what should be the size of I, guys?
2 by 3.
2 by 2, no? I2 siya. Kasi remember, guys, ang identity matrix, laging ano yan, laging square, no? So sige, let's do this. Let's create an identity matrix I2. Okay, so it's diag 2. So let's check I2. Tingnan natin kung tama, no? Yan, identity matrix I2 natin. So let's create now an object called A2 tayo kanina, A3 na tayo ngayon. A3, alt minus, and this is your matrix A, kailang capital, A, percent, asterisk percent, and then I2. Okay, either I put this in open and close parentheses or I just type A3. So yan, guys, let's see what happens. What if we wait, so ano ba to, guys? Is it multiplicable? Multiplicable ba siya? 3 by 2, 2 by 2, pwede? Guys,
Yes,
pwede.
pwede.
Yes, pwede. What's the resultant matrix?
2 by
3 by 2. No?
3 by
Yung outer, no? 3 by 2. Okay, that's correct, no? So na-generate na natin itong I2. I-multiply na natin. Let's create an object called A3. Okay, Control Enter. There. So what's this, guys? Check na natin A minus A3. Kasi pwede tayong mag-subtract, no? A. If you subtract A2, A3, dapat 0 lahat yung lalabas, no? Create tayo ng panibagong matrix. Gawin natin A4. A4. So we're creating a matrix called A4 and we're getting the difference between matrix A and matrix A3. Okay. Hindi ko nalagay yung parenthesis. Ano ina-expect nyo, guys, na answer? Guys, 0, di ba? Kasi parehong-pareho sila. So again, guys, what can we deduce out of this? If we multiply a matrix with an identity matrix, whether it's pre-multiplication or post-multiplication, we get the same answer. Parang yan, ang identity matrix is just like it's almost the same as identity matrix sa algebra. No? So what's an identity matrix in algebra? A number multiplied by 1 will always be equal to the number.
Sir, pero yung values ng 0, hindi nagmo-multiply.
Sorry?
Dun sa identity matrix po, when you multiply to A.
When you multiply
Yung any identity matrix to,
Uh-huh.
let's say I2 and A, hindi po ba na-multiply yung values ng A sa 0 ng I2?
Hindi, may ano yan, may rule kasi ng matrix multiplication, no? When you multiply matrices, you don't multiply it element to element, hindi ganon. May rule yan, no? So, if you watch the video, makikita niyo doon kung paano manually multiply yung matrices, no? So, doon i-explain kung paano. Kaya yung question as, di ba I2 is 0, 1, ito, I2 is 0, 1, sana si I2?
0, 1, 0, 0, 1.
Oo, yan. 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, di ba? Ang diagonals natin 1. So when you multiply this, Lagay ko to A, para makita natin sila side by side. Okay. Okay, just to quickly tell you how this is manually done, yung matrix multiplication. Sige, pwede ba ako mag-ano nito? Sige, let me see. Sana pwede. Magdodraw ako dito. Ano? So here, on the screen. Let's make it yellow. Okay. Sulat lang ako dito. So, di ba si matrix A, what's the size of matrix A? 3 by 2, di ba? What's the size of your identity matrix? It should be
2 by 2.
I2, no? 2 by 2 dapat to. Para maging multiplicable siya. 2 by 2. So, anong nangyayari dyan, guys? Ang resultant matrix is 3 by 2. So, we have to set up a 3 by 2 matrix. Yan. 3 by 2. So, 1, 2, 3. 3 rows and 2 columns. Yan. So, this is your 3 by 2 matrix. Now, how is this performed? Hindi siya yung, ano lang, hindi siya yung 2. Hindi siya yung 2 times 1, 1 times 0, hindi ganon. Sandali. Let me just escape kasi I need more space here. Okay. So, balikan ko to. Okay. So sabi natin, di ba, 3 by 2 yung resultant. Clear ba yun, guys, na 3 by 2 yung resultant matrix? Ha? Everyone,
Yes, sir.
please? 3 by 2, no? Yan. So 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and 2 columns. So this is a 3 by 2 matrix. 3 by 2. Ito yun. Ito yung hahanapin natin. So ano to? What's the first element here? So, ang manual computation yan, pakita ko lang yung first few elements para maano nyo, no? You will have to identify ano yung position nito. Ano yung position nito, guys? What's the, what row number and column number is this?
First row, first column.
Correct. First row, first column. So, yung row na yun, guys, it will refer to the first matrix, si matrix A. Kasi A times I2 tayo, di ba? So the first row will refer to matrix A. So ito yung first row nito dito. First row. Tapos, first column, it will be the first column of the second matrix ito. Yan. So pinipair yan, guys. Minomultiply yan. Tapos ina-add. So sige, gawin natin. This times this plus this times this, then i-add natin. So what's 2 times 1? Please, everyone, 2 times 1? Hello? 2 times 1? 2, di ba? Tapos 1 times 0?
0.
0. So 2 times 1 plus 1 times 0, first row, first column. First row, first column. 2 times 1, 2 times 1 plus 1 times 0, that will be, ano yan, guys? 2, di ba? Kaya ito, 2, ito 2. This is 2. Okay, how about this? Very quickly lang. very quickly. What will be the second element here? Anong position ito? What row? Pang ilang row to guys sa matrix na to? What row is this?
Second po.
So this is row 1, row 2, row 3. No? So in-explain ko lang kasi may tinanong kung ano, this is row, column 1, column 2. So ang position nito guys, row 2, column 1. So paano natin kukunin yung result na to? Pupunta tayo sa row 2 ng first matrix, ito yon, row 2. And what column guys? I-prepare natin siya sa ano? Column 1 ng second matrix. So ito yon, ito at saka ito. So cross multiply natin, 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 0 is 3. Diba? So 3 ito. I-add natin yon. 2 and 3. Yan. Which is this one, 2, 3. Last, ito negative 2. Pang ilang row to? Row 3, column 1. Row 3 dito, column 1 dito. So negative 2 times 1, negative 2. 2 times 0, 0. Negative 2 plus 0, negative 2. So this is negative 2. Okay? So that's how you get the element. So may way guys yung matrix multiplication. There are rules in matrix multiplication. Hindi siya yung parang addition na element wise, hindi ganon. In the first place, hindi pareho yung size ng matrices natin. Okay, clear yan guys? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what's good about this guys is alam natin na kayang mag-matrix kasi kung iisa-isa mo yan, lalo kung malaking matrix, matagal yan kung ima-manual. So Excel can do it and then also of course R can do it. Okay. So okay na tayo sa diagonal matrix guys, tapos yung gamit niya. How about symmetric matrix? Ano yung symmetric matrix guys? So we're creating a matrix called L. Ito yung elements niya, 9 elements, 3 by 3. No? So i-run natin to. Run. Okay, what do you notice about this matrix L? What do you notice about this, guys? May na-notice ba kayo na something quite unique about this? What do you notice about it? So may diagonal tayo, ano? Ito. These are diagonal 2, 3, negative 2. Okay, what do you notice about this one? This one. This one. Element in second row, first column, compared to element in first row, second column. What do you notice, guys? 1, 1, 5, 5, okay, 4, 4. Ano na-notice nyo? Ito yung ano natin, ito yung diagonal natin. 2, 3, and negative 2. But the diagonals, guys, the non-diagonals are, iba pareho. They're symmetric to each other. 5 and 5, 4 and 4, 1 and 1. Yung diagonals ito. Yung mga non-diagonals natin, guys, yung opposite ano nila, pareho. No? 1, 1, 5, 5, 5, 4. Okay, that's what we call a symmetric matrix. Clear doon guys sa symmetric matrix?
Clear po.
So, yung symmetric matrix guys, kung asan yung ano natin? Ito, no? If we get the transpose of the symmetric matrix, so i-print natin si L, at saka yung transpose niya, ito T, ano? T of L. Let's run this too. What's your conclusion, guys? So the first one is your L, the second one is a transpose of your L. L is a symmetric matrix. So yung transpose ng L will be the same as the symmetric matrix. Kasi pareho lang, no? Ma-maintain lang yung diagonal, and then the opposite elements will exchange places. And since they're the same anyway, so you'll have the same answer, guys. Okay, clear ba? Pag symmetric matrix, guys, so you have the diagonal, yung mga opposites niya, 1 and 1, 5 and 5, 4 and 4, the same. So that pag transpose natin yan, magpapalitan lang yan, then you still have the same matrix. Okay? Alright, clear so far? Questions? Paki-chat naman guys kung okay pa so far. Para reassured lang ako na ang
Sir, clear po.
Okay, thank you. The rest? Okay, good. Salamat ha. Salamat sa feedback. Okay, now let's go to another important operation in matrix. Yung inverse of a matrix. Ano nga ba yung inverse of a matrix? What's the inverse of a matrix? Okay, so let's create a matrix called A. Palitan natin ito mamaya kasi nakakalito yung I eh. No? Parang ano siya, parang identity, ano? Let's change the name later on. So we have this matrix A and it consists of this element, 9 elements siya, 3 by 3. So run natin. Okay, so this is our matrix. Is it a symmetrical matrix? Symmetrical ba siya, guys?
No.
Answer, please. No. Kasi 4 and 2, magkaiba yan. Negative 2, 2, 2 and 8. It's not a symmetrical matrix. Okay. Let's create a matrix. Let's call this I in. Pangit yung AI kasi parang identity siya, no? So to distinguish that from the identity matrix, I'm creating an object called A inverse. And in order to get the inverse of a matrix, okay, we use the function solve. Explain ko mamaya kung ano ginagawa ng inverse of a matrix. A solve. Okay, so ito guys yung inverse na matrix na to. So we're not going to learn how to do that kasi manually matagal yan. Yung manual na pag-convert, pag-solve ng inverse, it's really a long way, long process. Okay, sige, tingnan natin ha. So you can only create an inverse from a square matrix. Hindi ka pwedeng makapag-create ng sayang na ano na natin, no? Sana binago ko na yung pangalan nito para na-preserve. Wala na tuloy yung isa kaninang A. Dito na lang, guys. Ano pa ba mga matrix natin? Si A2, no? Si A2, okay, 3 by 2 din siya, hindi sa square. I just want to illustrate to you. Okay, pwede ba natin kunin yung ano, yung lagay ko lang dito. We can only get the inverse of a square matrix. So square matrix lang to pwede. So, subukan natin guys si A2. Di ba may A2 tayo? Si A2 is a non-square matrix. So let's try to solve this. Okay, A2. Hindi. So, ano na. A2 inverse. Can we get the inverse of A2? Solve A2. Okay, so what am I doing here? I know that A2 is not a square matrix. No? It's a 3 by 2 matrix. So sige nga guys, pakigawa yan. A2 underscore inverse, that's the object that we're creating. And then we solve the inverse by using the function solve. Okay, ano lumabas?
Error daw po, sir.
Error, no? Okay, not a square matrix. Okay, so we can only get the inverse of a square matrix. Si A2 non-square yan. If we try to get its inverse, wala, error. Okay, so what's the purpose of an inverse? This is matrix A. Ito yung kanina, no? Tapos na-solve natin yung inverse niya. So this should be A underscore inverse. What's the size of A? Guys, what's the size of A? 3 by 3. What's the size of A inverse? Ito.
3 by 3, sir.
3 by 3 din, no? So multiplicable ba si A at saka si A inverse? Pareho silang 3 by 3.
Yes, sir.
Yes, of course, no? And the resultant matrix is also 3 by 3. So let's see what happens if we multiply A by A inverse. Tingnan natin. Okay, ano nangyari?
Naging identity.
Yes. A matrix multiplied by its inverse is equal to an identity matrix. Okay, so that's what happens, no? Identity. A matrix multiplied by its inverse is equal to an identity matrix. How about this one, guys? I-post-multiply natin si A inverse. Okay, so this one, A inverse multiplied by A. What's the result?
Same lang, sir.
Same lang, no? So A post-multiplied by its A inverse or pre-multiplied by its inverse will give the same answer. It's always an identity matrix. So lagi bang lahat ng matrix, square matrix may identity? Hindi, no? Some matrices may inverse ba sila? No. Some matrices do not have an inverse. So which brings us to the concept of the determinant of a matrix. Now, again guys, maganda kung mapanood yung video kasi dinidiscuss ko itong determinant, no? Okay, so let's create first this object C, which is also a square matrix. So palitan natin to wag I kasi C inverse, which is computed by solve C. Solve natin to. Okay, so this is the identity, no? This is the inverse of matrix C. And then i-multiply natin siya ng inverse niya, post-multiply at saka pre-multiply. Okay, try nyo nga guys. What do you get here? Identity ba? Yung resultant matrix? Hello? Are you able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Ano lumalabas? C matrix multiplied by C inverse and C inverse matrix multiplied to C. What do you get? When we solve for the inverse of C, ito yun. Ngayon, ano to? C times C inverse or C inverse times C. What do you get?
Is it identity, sir?
Identity din yan, no? Identity. Oh, so practically, ano naman siya, di ba? 1 point. Kasi this is, ano ibig sabihin nito? What's the meaning of this, guys?
Exponent po, sir.
Oo, so that's negative 16, no? So 16 places to the left. So 0.0000. So this is practically zero, no? Practically zero yan, no? Okay, so may identity tayo. At ganun din itong isa. Okay, identity din siya. Okay, tingnan natin kung lagyan natin ng round. No? Round. Let's see what happens. Kung lalagyan natin ng round, tanggalin ko muna ito para hindi ako malito. Round. And then lagyan natin kahit 5 decimal places. Eh. Ayaw. Ayaw niya. Round. Ay, hindi. Round. Dapat ito muna. Check ko lang yung syntax. This, comma, 5. So, mali yung syntax ko kanina. Okay. Ayan. Okay? So, kasi ano siya, sa scientific notation kanina. So, sabi ko, gawin mo up to 5 decimal places. So, sabi niya, 0 pa rin yung 111. Okay? So, it still gives us an identity. So, this is a second example where we showed that a matrix, no? A matrix, if a matrix is invertible, bigyan natin to kasi hindi lahat ng matrix may may inverse, no? If a matrix is invertible, ibig sabihin invertible, meron siyang inverse. The inverse multiplied by the matrix is an identity. Okay? So sabi ko dito, pag yung matrix guys may invertible siya, ibig sabihin may inverse siya. Invertible, ibig sabihin has an inverse. The inverse of the matrix, multiplied by the matrix itself is an identity matrix. Okay. All right. So how do you know, guys, kung may inverse yung matrix? Well, pwede natin i-solve. Or another way is you get the determinant of the matrix. Okay. So again, if you watch the video, guys, papakita sa inyo manually kung paano kinukuha yung determinant of the matrix. And the determinant of the matrix, you can do that. No? Okay, so let's go have an object called D. And this is the determinant of matrix C. Enter natin. Okay. So the determinant of matrix C, since that determinant ni C is not equal to, not equal to 0 yan, then it is invertible. Sabi dyan guys, if the determinant of C is not equal to 0, then it is invertible. So ito, 102, negative 102. So it's not 0, then na-prove naman natin guys na ano na yung matrix C is that A. Matrix C is invertible. How about A? 8. So not 0 to, therefore A is invertible. Okay? Then dun sa Excel guys, dun kasi may example ako dun ng isang matrix na hindi invertible. As an exercise, pwede nyo gawin dito sa R yun, kunin nyo yung determinant ng matrix na yun. I-set up nyo muna yung matrix dito, tapos then get the determinant, then see if the determinant will be equal to 0. If the determinant of a matrix is equal to 0, then that matrix is not invertible. Kuha nga tayo dito, kuha lang ako ng sample lang tayo para mapakita ko na matrix with 0 determinant. Kumuha tayo ng example sa internet. Let's see kung hanap nga kayo guys ng example. Hanap tayo ng matrix na may 0 determinant. Example of a matrix with 0 determinant. Number of matrices with, let's see this. Okay, let's have an example. Let's look for an example with 0 matrix. You need an example. Asan na? Ito. Ito ba? May nakita kayo guys, pakitulong nga, kindly help me. Sa internet guys, hanap tayo ng ito guys. Ito. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Check natin to. Parang hindi naman yan eh. May nakita na kayo? Para ma-illustrate lang natin. Okay, so dito, let me check kung, I don't think that, let's call it Z, matrix, C, 1 up to 9, 3. Okay, so we have this matrix. Ayaw. Capital Z ba yan? Yan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. By row. Tignan natin kung yung example niya tama. Ayan naman siya. Yan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's get the determinant of this. Hindi yata ano to. And practically 0, no? Okay, let's try this, guys. So this matrix, yung 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, ang ano niya is practically 0, no? Yung determinant niya. Okay, then let's create an object called Z inverse. Okay, let's see if we have a solve natin. Okay, di ba para makuha natin yung inverse, sinosolve natin siya. But here we have a hint na ang determinant ni Z, which is 0, guys, it gives us a hint na hindi to invertible yung matrix ito. Okay. Okay, ano sinabi niyan, guys? Okay. It tells you guys that this matrix Z, since its determinant is equal to 0, it will not have any inverse. Okay? So itong matrix na to, si Z, yung 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it is not invertible. So wala tayong makukuhang matrix na kapag na inverse of a matrix, na kapag minultiply natin dito, we will get an identity matrix. Try nga natin kanina, Z1. Okay, ano na lang, Q. Let's create a matrix called Q. Control C, Control V. Paano yung kanina? Tanggalin natin by row is equal to 2. Pababa yung pagpasok ng matrix. Q. Okay, so ito, no? Let's get the determinant of Q. Det of Q. 0, no? 0 din. Okay guys, andali, pause muna ako kasi baka masyado ako mabilis. I'll pause to entertain some questions or clarifications. So bago kayo magtanong, isa-summarize ko lang, we were looking for a matrix whose determinant is equal to 0. Kasi pag determinant is equal to 0, guys, walang inversion. It's non-invertible. Pag walang inverse, ibig sabihin, wala tayong makikita na matrix na pag binultiply mo sa matrix itself, it will give us an identity matrix. Wala siyang ganun. So, we created an object called Z. Yung matrix na to, itong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by row, no? Nung kinuha natin determinant, it was 0. Okay? Nung sinode natin siya to get the inverse, ine-error ni R. Ibig sabihin, non-existent yung identity, yung inverse niya. Ganon din si Q, no? The same with Q. Okay, I'll entertain questions if you have any. Okay, clear so far? Paki-chat na lang kung clear. Okay, thank you. Good. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. So let's proceed, guys. Okay, ito. How do we... sige, go.
Nag-error po siya when I tried to run the code.
Which one? Which one?
Yung line 597.
597. Oo, yeah, error talaga siya. Okay. Error siya. Kasi nga, yung matrix natin Z does not have a determinant. The determinant is equal to 0. Pag 0 yung determinant, guys, if you try to solve for the inverse of that, wala. Wala siyang inverse. Ganun din si Q, no? Determinant of Q is 0. Okay, so if we try to get its inverse, copy natin to. Control C, Control V. So let me replace this by Q. Solve Q. This is Q inverse. If I run this also, error din siya. So non-invertible. These matrices are non-invertible. May mga applications yan, guys, sa finance at saka sa economics, but that will not be the siguro later on we'll have an opportunity. I'll give you an opportunity to I'll give you some few examples of the power of matrices, yung gamit nila. Kasi maraming gamit yan, no, sa lahat, sa different fields. Okay, so let's finish this. Let's go to this cell, this code's horizontal concatenation. So we have this matrix P, we have this matrix Q, pareho silang 3 by 2, 3 by 2. Okay, we know that this would be filled by column. So si P, 2, 3, negative 2. So 2, 3, negative 2, pababa. Si Q then, okay, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. Okay, now we can create another matrix called H. And then itong C-bind, guys, C-bind, ang gagawin niyan, i-connect niya, column bind niya. So this is column bind. In other words, ipagsasama niya si P, which is 2, 3, negative 2, 1, 2, 2, with Q, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 2. So let's run this. There you are, guys. Okay, so ano nangyari dito? 2, 3, negative 2, ito. 1, 2, 2, ito. Sinama niya si Q, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 2. Okay? So you now have a new matrix which consists of the combining the elements of matrix P and matrix Q. So that can be done. That's called your horizontal concatenation. Bakit horizontal concatenation? So you're adding by columns, no? Tingnan nyo, yung horizontal, 2, 1, okay, 1, 2. Okay, you're adding by columns. That's called horizontal concatenation. Okay, pag vertical naman, sa ilalim ilalagay, no? Okay, let's have that example. Vertical concatenation, i-append, ilalagay sa ilalim. Okay, so that's called your R bind, row bind, no? Row bind. C bind is column bind, ibig sabihin dinadagdag along the column. Row bind, dinadagdag along the rows. Okay, so let's create an object called V, which is R bind of P. Yung natin P and Q to. P and Q, para makita natin distinction. So vertical, run natin. Okay, tingnan nyo guys, oh. Dinagdag sa row. Right? Ito yung P, and then yung Q, inappend, sinama sa ilalim, dinagdag sa along the rows. So that's your column bind, dinagdag along the columns. Row bind, dinagdag along the along the rows. Okay, any questions, guys? All right, here, I leave this to you as an exercise. Okay, so may mga questions dito. So practicein nyo to kasi malamang yan, baka lumabas yan sa first exams natin, which will be, even if we haven't finished yung GG plot, magpa-first exam na tayo. So that will be next week, yung 5th week, magpa-first exam na tayo. Synchronous exams natin. Okay? Any questions, guys? Alright. So kung wala, ito yung isang R Markdown file din na binigay ko. So this is just to reinforce, no? May mga additional na ano dito, may mga additional na lessons, no? Okay? For example, let's generate a matrix. You have it, guys? Na-download nyo na? I'll wait for you to download it. Okay na, paki-chat nga kung yes, kung meron na kayong copy. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Meg. The rest, I'll wait for the... Okay, thank you. Nico, thank you. Okay, let's wait for the others. Pag okay na guys, mag-chat na kayo para alam ko na meron na kayo. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Maro. Thank you, Migs. Thank you, Aji. Thank you, James. Sky, thank you. So let's have one more minute for the rest to download the file. Okay, sorry guys, my mistake. I should have announced to you beforehand and told you to have the file ready so that we save on time. I forgot to inform you about it. Okay, meron pa bang wala? So does everybody have? Okay. All right. So let's continue with this. Okay. So let's generate a matrix from 1 to 12. Okay, this is another way to do it. We define first the object Z, and then we create a matrix called P, matrix, you know this. Tapos yung data niya, Z, and then 4 rows by 3 columns. Take note guys, dapat yung row by column, dapat tama yun, exact dapat yan dun sa number of elements. No? Kasi kunyari, naglagay kayo dito ng 4 by 4, hindi pa pwede yun. 4 by 4, hindi pa pwede kasi you only have 12 elements tapos, and nag-error siya. Nag-error siya. Hindi ko pa pala nararan to. Wait. Run ko muna si Z, and then si P. Okay, what happened guys? Ano nangyari? Kasi si P, guys, si Z, 1 to 12 lang siya, di ba? Pero nung kino-urge ko sa as a matrix, si Z, ano nangyari? Ginawa nga ni R, kaso inulit niya, no? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then, kasi sabi niya, kasi pinapadagdagan mo pa ako ng isang column. Eh sige, uulitin ko yung uulitin ko yung number. Okay? Uulitin lang niya hanggang mag-fill up dun sa sa tamang dimension of 4 by 4. But that's not what we want. So, we want just exactly 1 to 12. Okay? Ayan. So, okay ito, no? Default is by columns. We know that. N rows and N columns are specified. And again, guys, by way of review, alam natin na ang complete code niyan, N row, no? Itong isa, N column. We will not do that anymore kasi alam naman natin. So, let's tapos ito, P1, okay, si matrix, yung Z din ng 1 to 12, 4 rows din to, pero ang pagpasok niya ng data, pag ganito, no? Horizontal, 1, 2, 3, etc. So let's take a look at P1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So row-wise, no? By row is equal to 2. Ito guys, pareho din to. P2, notice, Z natin 1 to 12, and then hindi in-identify si row. Okay, walang linagay kay row, pero linagay kay column. So, ibig sabihin yan, automatic yan, fill up ni R yan na this is 12. Kasi alam naman niya na 12 elements to, so he knows that yung 4 to. So, let's see. Okay, pareho lang. 1, 2, 3. So, nag-create siya ng 3 columns, and automatically, 12 rows yun. So matrix ba si object P? So, sabay-sabay na natin to. Okay, true. P is a matrix by virtue of the code that we generated na coerce siya into a matrix ito. Ang class niya is, it's a matrix, it's an array. Ang dimension niya, 4 by 3. Number of rows, 4. Number of columns, 3. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Now, di ba yung natin, yung matrix natin na P, so si P, let me just view P, ito P. So wala siyang pangalan, di ba? Ito yung default lang na row 1, 2, 3, 4. Tapos wala na siyang pangalan ni column. No names. We can assign names to that. Take a look at this. So how do we assign or change the names of columns? We use the row names and the column names. Okay, so sabi natin dito, row name ni P. Okay? So papalitan natin yung mga row names si P. It will be combination ng row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4 kasi 4 yung rows. And then call names, column names si P. Call 1, call 2, call 3, call 4. And then i-print natin si P. So let's run this. So if we take a look at P, okay, hindi pa ito nabago. No? So si P ngayon, i-view natin si P. View P. Okay. So you notice guys, si P ngayon, may pangalan na yung column niya. Column 1, column 2, column 3, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. Okay. Of course, you know na kung may mga special names yan, yun ang ilalagay nyo dito. Kung gusto natin tanggalin ulit, inannul natin. Row names P, column names P. View P ulit to. Para doon na sa... Okay, wala na yung names. No? Deleted na natin. So we can change the names of rows and columns. Okay, ito pareho ng kanina. So si J1, it's 5 to 10. So 6 elements to, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Si J2, we're using the sequence function. Sequence from 50 up to 100 by 10. So mangyayari yan 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So 6 elements din. So run natin si J1 and J2. Si J2. And si J2. 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So it's a vector. It's a vector of numbers 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Anim. Itong 5 to 10, anim din. So we can combine this. Let's create an object called Q1. C-bind, alam niyo yung C-bind, guys? Idudugtong niya along the columns, di ba? Si J1 at saka si J2. Okay, so tapos pinapasummarize si Q1. Tapos si structure ni Q1. Let's run this. Okay. Diba? No? J1, J2 kinombine niya. And then, pinasummarize. So, yung 6 number summary natin. At saka yung structure niya. So, it's a numeric siya. Okay. 1 to 6. Tapos 1 to 2. Numeric 1 to 6 and then 1 to 2. Ba't ba 1 to 2? Kasi 6 rows and 2 columns. No? Okay. Alright, then let's ask ito. Si Q2 naman, R-bind natin. So sa ilalim ilalagay yan. Ayan. Wait. Column bind, R-bind. Anong class ni J1? So integer siya. Matrix ba si Q1? Okay. So matrix ba itong mga to, guys, yung create natin? Are they matrices? Si 5 to 10, guys, matrix ba siya? Hello, guys.
Yes, sir.
J1, 5 to 10 lang. Hindi matrix yan, di ba? Hindi
Ay, no, sir.
tayo naglagay na matrix. So dapat, kung gusto natin matrix, dapat ano? Dapat may matrix to, di ba? Matrix and then C, or pwede na yung 5 to 10, and then 5 to 10, then pwede isang row lang. No? So magiging matrix to. 5 to 10, so nakababa siya. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That will be one row, 6 rows. 6 rows and 1 column. Natin ha? So there. Matrix na siya. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then ito, si J2, gawin din natin matrix to. Matrix. So sequence siya ng sequence. Okay. And then dapat may comma dito. 6. Check natin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. May kulang pang isa. Sequence siya ng numbers from 50 to 100, increments of 10. So, ibig sabihin 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 6 rows din siya. Let's run this. Yan. Okay. Hindi na kailangan to kasi meron ng parenthesis. Okay. So, si J matrix, si J2 matrix, so we can now combine them. Q1, C bind with J1. Run natin to again. Q1, C bind siya. Yan. Okay, clear ba yan guys? And then row bind. Sabi natin, dinadagdag sa ilalim yung ina-append. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So that's now your R bind and column bind. Okay. So, okay, anong class ni J1? It's a matrix. So si Q1 ba matrix then? Yes. So the same for J2 and Q2. Okay, so I was actually waiting for you to comment that ito yung una kanina, hindi matrix siya kasi wala tayong linagyan ni matrix. So since ang topic dito, creating a matrix, no? So yung mali kanina, hindi pa pwedeng J1, 5 to 10, because that becomes only a vector, a list of a vector, numeric vector from 5 to 10. Okay, any questions guys?
That's one.
Okay, so we have a few more minutes. So tingnan natin to. How do you filter? Filter ng matrix elements. So here, let's create. So this is, set that seed natin. Ano ginagawa ng sample? Ano ginagawa guys ng sample? So this is sample. Okay, maximum ng 50. Gagawa tayo ng 20 elements. So random to, random. Numbers from ranging up to 50. And then we'll create 20 numbers. Replace is equal to false. Ang ibig sabihin ng replace is equal to false, guys. Okay, imagine, ang ibig sabihin ng replace is equal to false. Okay. So let me just illustrate that. So imagine guys, meron tayong, let's say a ball. No? Sorry for the drawing. You have a ball here. And then you have, let's say, ping pong balls, numbers from 0. So may mga ping pong balls tayo dito. So may mga numbers yan, 0 up to, let's say, ping pong ball, 0 up to 100. Ang ibig sabihin ng replace is equal to false. Pag kumuha tayo ng isa, we got one. Kunyari, this is 48. No? Ibig sabihin yan, hindi mo na ibabalik si 48. So, is there a chance that you'll get 48 again? No. Kasi replace is equal to false. Pag replace is equal to true, ibabalik mo siya, then pwedeng ma-repeat, makuha ulit si 48. So that's what that means. No? Clear yan guys, yung replace is equal to false?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Okay, good. So ito guys, number hanggang 50 daw, sample, no? Random to. And then 20 numbers ang i-generate niya. Replace is equal to false, ibig sabihin no repetition. Ang size ng matrix natin, since we're creating a matrix, it's a 5 by 4 matrix, and then by row. Ibig sabihin, row yung paglagay niya ng number. Okay, so let's run this. We should have the same answers. Let's run. We're creating a matrix M. Run the code chunk. Okay, take a look at our M, guys. Do we have the same values? 31, 15, 14, 3. Guys, pare-pareho tayo?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we should have the same kasi nag-set.seed tayo, no? And notice guys, walang nauulit dito. You don't have repeats kasi nga replace is equal to false. You can, of course, you can replicate this, create another object, and then replace is equal to true. There is a possibility that there will be repeat items here. Okay, so let's quickly, we have learned this before, no? So ito yung matrix natin si M. What does the bracket do, guys? Pag nagba-bracket tayo, ang ginagawa niyan? Sinasubset niya, no? M subset M greater than or equal to 15. Okay. So these are the elements of M that are greater than 15. Ito siya. Si M yung matrix natin, di ba? Ito. So yung numbers greater than 15 here are 31, 42, 25, 40, 43, 26, etc. And that's what you'll see here. Okay. How about M is equal to 43? O, M is less than 40. So lahat ng mga less than 40. Dun sa M, no? So we're using this bracket as a subset. How about those M that are equal to 43? Meron ba? So meron daw. May isang equal to 43. And then I didn't expect this to be more than one kasi nga, bakit guys? Bakit iisa lang to? Kasi, which of the code here made that true? Ito, no? Ito, replace is equal to true. Ibig sabihin, pag nakuha na yung 43, replace is equal to false, hindi na ibabalik. Pag replace is equal to true yan, pwedeng magkaroon ng doble, triple na 43. Okay. How about this? Which? Ano ibig sabihin yan? Which daw? Which? Saan dun sa matrix natin ang M is equal to 43? 7. So tingnan natin yung positioning natin. Okay, remember, pag nag-aano si R, okay? Pag nagpapasok siya, kahit by row is equal to true tayo, ang pagbilang pa rin natin by column. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tama nga. No? Yung pang 7 element, guys, that's 43. Right, guys? Right? Yun yung tinatanong natin, which daw? Pag sinabing which, anong position? Equal to 43. Ito, which M is greater than or equal to 15. So ito yung mga positions. First, second, third, fourth, hanggang 19th, they are the ones who are greater than 15. Okay? It's almost time. Tapusin ko lang to, guys. Ano to? Ito yung or, di ba? M greater than 10 or M greater than 45. So makakakita ba ako na greater than 10? Yes. For as long as greater than, less than 10, makakita tayo? Yes. For as long as greater than 45 siya. Makakita ba tayo ng greater than 40, less than 45? Yes. Those that are less than 10. Tingnan natin. Okay. 8 is less than 10. It's not greater than 45, pero pinasok siya. So dito yung greater than 45, isa lang, 48. Ito naman, ito between, no? Kasi greater than 20 and less than 30. So both conditions have to be met. So lahat ng elements natin dito, yung greater than 20 and less than 30. Saan natin makikita yung greater than 20 and less than 30? Okay. So that's on the 3rd, the 8th, the 9th, the 13th, and the 8th, 19th, ano. So pababa yung bilang yan. 1, 2, 3, ito, 25, etc. Alright. So, okay, kung pwede guys, kasi next meeting mag-aano na tayo, ano? We will start already with ggplot. Kung pwede, aralin nyo na lang to, itong remaining from row 77. I'll try to record a video explaining this so that we don't have to repeat this. We don't have to discuss this next meeting. Para next meeting, ggplot 2 na tayo. Okay? Alright, any questions, guys?
None, sir.
Alright, so sige, thank you so much, guys. I'll stop recording.